Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our District 103 Senior Advisor Webinar Series for tonight. I am Cassandra Diva of Dialogue Lee, your facilitator for tonight. I'll be leading you through the segment of information tonight entitled Stepping into District Leadership Part 2. This is a great session because you will get an opportunity to hear from some of our past district leaders who have gone through the process of stepping outside of their club leadership roles into actual district leadership roles. Tonight we have special guests with us, Joan Moore as well as Michelle Cable, and you will get an opportunity to hear from each one of them in a moment. I just simply want to remind you, with this being our conference call or our webinar series, that there are a few technical housekeeping tips. There we go. I don't want to say technical glitches. Technical housekeeping tips. Let me make certain that I move through the first technical side, and that is making sure my PowerPoint is advancing. Yay, and it's working. You'll notice, for those of you who are following us by webinar, that you'll see on the screen some of the housekeeping rules. For those of you who are listening by audio, just keep in mind that this webinar is being recorded, which is why I want to make certain we can have as much as possible a noise-free background. You will find that all of you right now are in listen-only mode, or in the mute mode, if you will. You will have an opportunity later in the session to ask questions, and that will give me an opportunity to unmute your line. You'll have a chance to ask your question, and then we'll put you back on mute, simply to make certain that the noise in the background can be eliminated. Because you may not have an opportunity to ask your question immediately, keep in mind, for those of you by chat, there is a chat feature for the webinar. You can type your questions in there. Otherwise, write down your question or hold on to your question, and when we get to the Q&A segment, you'll get an opportunity to ask your question then. I want to make certain, since this is a District 103 sponsored event, that I give a shout out to our District 103 trio. That is our Club Growth Director, Greg Thompson, our Program Quality Director, Joe McCarty, as well as our District Director, Ivory Gwynn. Without their support, this program would not be taking place tonight. So I want to thank these gentlemen, our trio leaders, for seeing the value in this programming and supporting it. As I mentioned, I'm Cassandra Diva of Dialogue Lee, your facilitator for tonight, and I want to give you a little bit of background about me. For several of you, you know that I've been around in Toastmasters for quite some time. It's been over 20 years for me. I joined Toastmasters in January 1998, and I started at the club level, of course, yet I've had the opportunity at the club level to develop my communication skills, my speaking skills, and my leadership skills. That is the real reason why I joined Toastmasters in the first place, and that was to become a stronger leader, to feel more confident in my leadership, my management, and my supervising skills. Well, of course, you know, in Toastmasters, you learn by doing. I learned by doing club officer roles. I eventually stepped out of the club environment, and I held positions at the district level, from area governor to division governor twice, to the club retention chair, as well as program quality director, and then the district director. So program quality director and all of the other roles were with District 30, and then I became the first district director for District 103. I'm proud of all of those leadership roles that I've held because they have continuously allowed me to develop my leadership skills, and I'm glad that tonight's call, when you hear from our guest panelists, they will let you know what they've learned from their experience of being involved at the club level and moving into the district level. Now, moving into the district level, what I observed being program quality, actually, let me backtrack, being area governor, actually, what I learned in those roles, from area governor, division governor, club retention chair, program quality director, and even district director, I learned a valuable lesson. It starts at the club level. The clubs being able to have a quality club environment, focusing in on their members, making certain that their members are getting what they came there for, really is how our district roles, our areas and divisions become successful, and it starts, as I said, at the club level. So you will find that throughout the Senior Advisor webinar series, there are various topics. Some of the topics touch on club quality because that was something that was very important that I had to focus on as the program quality director, and it also gave me the opportunity to earn the prestigious Excellence in Program Quality Award from Toastmasters International. Yet, it doesn't happen overnight. It is a process, and I'm sure our panelists will let you know it's a process in growth and leadership. It's also a process in our clubs, growing and developing and maintaining a quality club environment in which you can grow and develop. I've been involved in Toastmasters, as I said, for over 20 years. I started with a corporate club, but my years of service has been with my home club, the Wrightwood Ashburn Overcomers, otherwise known as WAO Toastmasters Club, and we are celebrating our 15th year anniversary on March 23rd. Yep, in a few weeks, we will be 15 years old. I'm proud of the club. I'm proud that the club has an environment that allows me to continue to grow and develop as a leader and as a communicator, yet it also gives me an opportunity to use my passion and my mission. I say that my mission is education and empowerment. My passion is teaching through speaking. And over the years, through Toastmasters, you've seen me exhibit those. Yet you also will find that as I continue to grow and develop as an individual, I'm looking beyond the opportunity just to lead and to speak. As a matter of fact, I'm stretching my writing skills, and I'm combining that with my service to Toastmasters with a new series that I've created called the Leadership Legacy Series. Leadership Legacy Series are a variety of various reports that I've written for club leaders and district leaders alike. It simply gives you advice and guidance, tips and suggestions on key areas that sometimes we don't get a chance to get trained on, or we might touch on because an experience occurred, but we don't always remember the information. So the Leadership Legacy Series allows me to stretch my writing skills and combine it with my service to Toastmasters, and that's the new project that I've undertaken this year. And that leads me to being able to continue to tap into my speaking skills. Many of you know that since the time I've been involved in Toastmasters, actually, I've been using my communication skills, my speaking skills, and I eventually formed my own consulting company where I teach classes, professional development classes around the world. And my next challenge, or I should say my next goal that I'm working very diligently to achieve, is to become an accredited speaker with Toastmasters International. Listen, before becoming a district director, I was working towards this goal. As a matter of fact, our guest speakers tonight would let you know they had a conversation with me, and I was like, no, I don't want to be a district director because I want to become an accredited speaker. Well, becoming an accredited speaker takes some time, and it's a process. And I should say this as I'm bumbling through my words because my brain is running fast. I'm thinking, personally, I would have preferred to have become an accredited speaker first before being district director. However, the district director leadership role, I do believe, prepared me more for the accredited speaker preparation. And the accredited speaker preparation has changed so much that it gave them time to get things in order, so now I can go through the process much more smoothly. So that's what's on the horizon for me. Yes, I'm still a part of my home club. Yes, I'm still active in the district. Yet as an individual, as a professional, I am still working toward taking my skills to the next level, and I love this organization for giving me an opportunity to do so. And I wanted to give you at least some insight on the Yahoo facilitating this session for you tonight, and that's me. As we have gone through and got some background on me, we're now getting ready to get into the meat and potatoes of this session, and that's about our panelists for tonight. This program, or I should say this session in particular, when I had to brainstorm to do a stepping into district leadership, these two women definitely came to mind because for me personally, they were very instrumental in encouraging me to take that gigantic leap of being a district leader and being the first district director for District 103. And I tell you, I would not have been able to do the role without their guidance, without their support, and most importantly, without their encouragement. Now, mind you, they encouraged me 4 years prior to the process, but that's another story. Tonight, you are going to hear from Joan Moore, distinguished Toastmaster. She was the District 30 governor in the year 2012-2013. The beauty of her being district governor was that she and Michelle worked on the same team. And if you know anything about district trios, as I gave a shout out to Greg Thompson and Joe McCarty and Ivory Gwynn, they are the trio. So they are the top 3 leaders of the district. They serve on the same team. And when one is in a role, depends upon what happens with the next election, they could possibly move into the next role. And that's exactly what happened with Michelle. Michelle and Joan were on the same team. That means when Joan was the top leader of the district, Michelle was leader number 2, and eventually she moved into the top role 1 year later, where she became the 2013-2014 District 30 governor as well. So both of these ladies have been in the trio roles. They have been area and division governors, and as I said, you're going to hear from them with their experience. I do want to add one more role for Michelle, though, and I cannot miss this, because when I was a program quality director, Michelle was actually at a higher leadership level within Toastmasters International. She was known as the Regent Advisor, and I tell you, she guided us. She helped us from our club growth role to our program quality role to even the district director role. She was very instrumental in helping all the trio leaders of various districts for a 2-year period. And I'm so fortunate that before her term ended as an RA, I had a chance to work with her in that role, and I'm sure she'll talk to you more about that tonight. Now that I've given you some preliminaries, I do want to make certain that the technology is still working and that our panelists are still with us. So, Joan, go ahead and give a shout out to everyone.
Hello, everybody.
Thanks, Joan. And Michelle, let everyone know that you are in the house.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me.
Good, good. Well, everyone on the call, I say hold on to your seats, because you are now about to learn some key information about stepping into district leadership. As we get into our conversation with our panelists, my first category of questions will center around their background. We know that everyone starts in Toastmasters for a reason, and we understand that sometimes people stay for a reason. I would like for our panelists to give us some insight into their background. Joan, I will start with you, and here's the first question. Give us an idea of when you joined Toastmasters, and let us know why you joined Toastmasters. So approximate time frame of when you joined and why you joined. Joan Moore, take it away.
Sure. Thanks, Cassandra. I joined in April 2007, so almost 13 years ago. The reason that I joined Toastmasters was because I taught a CPA review course. I'm a certified public accountant, and I taught a CPA review course, and we were having to become more of a lecturer in that course, and I needed to improve my speaking skills. I knew how to teach, but I wanted to make sure that my lectures were informative as well as not boring. And we had a Toastmasters Club in my building. I belonged to the 219 Toastmasters Club, and it was fortuitous because right about the time that I was starting to have to do more lecturing in the CPA review course, we received an email in our inbox that the Toastmasters Club was welcoming new members. Now, our club in the building had been a closed club, and I didn't know anything about the club until I received that email. When I received the email, I thought, maybe I should go to Toastmasters, because years and years ago I had taken the Dale Carnegie course, and that was the Dale Carnegie course, the Public Speaking and Human Relations course. And they had mentioned Toastmasters, but I really didn't know what it was about. They said that if you want to go and take another step after Dale Carnegie, join Toastmasters. But at that time, I didn't know what it was, and I didn't pursue it. And years later, lo and behold, here I am, and I joined in April of 2007, and that's how I got started, because I wanted to improve my speaking and lecturing skills.
Wow, that is so cool. I like how when we become intentional on what we want to improve upon, the universe opens up and provides those resources. You were already looking, Joan, to start improving your communication skills for that accounting course, for that CPA course. And then, as you said, you worked in a place that already had a Toastmasters club, which you knew nothing about, yet you got a personal invitation to be able to attend that meeting. And you took up the offer. You actually took part in it. You could have easily have ignored that invitation. However, you were ready. You were ready for that opportunity. And if you were not ready, we would never have met you. So thank you for sharing your story.
You're welcome. And I just want to say that Toastmasters meets you where you are. And even though I had already been teaching for a little while and I just wanted to become better, so Toastmasters will meet you where you are. If you're a good speaker, it'll polish you and make you a better speaker. If you're totally terrified before you get an audience, it will help you get over that fear. So I love the fact and the concept that Toastmasters meets you where you are.
Ooh, and that's a nice phrase. We need that on a T-shirt, Joan. Toastmasters meet you where you are. I think everyone on this call, if they didn't start head nodding like I did, they felt that phrase resonate and could think of people within their club where that statement is so true. Toastmasters meet you where you are. So that's cool. Thanks for sharing that, Joan. Michelle, you are up next, and the questions are the same for you as well. Basically, give us some insight as to when did you join Toastmasters along with your why. Why did you find you needed to join Toastmasters, and give us some details on that. The floor is yours.
Great. Thanks, Cassandra. Well, I want to say I joined Toastmasters so I could meet all of you, but that wouldn't be true, but that was a great outcome. So I joined Toastmasters in May 2008, and I actually joined the Lake Zurich Club, which is number 169, and that's important because it's one of the oldest clubs in the Toastmasters universe of clubs. So it's a pretty old club. Yeah. Not that the members are old, but the club has been around a long time. And so I joined that club, and, you know, the reason I joined is because I was talking to my manager slash mentor, who was and is a phenomenal speaker. And I thought, wow, how can I speak like you? We were listening to a recording of a webinar, a leadership webinar we had just finished, and I said, listening to my own voice I just don't listen to those webinars because I don't want to hear myself. And she said, you probably should think about that. And then I said, well, how can I become a speaker like you? What tips and techniques would you help me learn? And she said, join Toastmasters. I tell you, Cassandra, that day I went out and I signed up in Lake Zurich and started my journey on fire to become a better speaker. And within 6 months, I had at least achieved enough so that people who were listening to the webinars were shocked about the improvement. And so for me personally, I think I joined for that reason, to become a better speaker, but I got so much more than I ever even imagined. And it's been a great journey, and I'm happy to talk about it with anyone who asks. So, Cassandra, back to you.
All right. Thank you so much, Michelle. You know, you said some real key nuggets in your response there. Number one, thank you so much for recognizing Lake Zurich and for pointing out the fact that is an older club. The fact that you gave a club with only 3 numbers Three numbers, that lets you know that the club has been around for a while. Some of us belong to clubs with 6 digits or 7 digits or maybe even 8 digits now, and that means that we are newer in the program. However, a club that's been around with 3 digits, that lets you know they do have some history. And you mentioned something else that was key. Your mentor, your boss, your mentor, and you use that phrase mentor, which is a phrase that we hear a lot in Toastmasters. Many of our clubs are using that terminology because we partner newer members with seasoned members who are mentors. Yet you did something that we expect mentees or proteges to do, and that is when mentors provide advice, you at least test out that advice and see how it works for you. Your mentor gave you the recommendation to go ahead and join Toastmasters or to work on improving your skills, and she recommended Toastmasters in particular, and immediately, like you said, you went out, you joined, and you started to use the program. And one other thing that I'll touch on that you brought to light in your response, and this was real key, when you join Toastmasters, you obviously use the program to the point where people notice the difference in your skills. Mm-hmm. You made the comment that when people were on the webinar, they could hear the difference from how you used to sound to how you sound now. So that's a beautiful thing, Michelle, in recognizing you didn't just become a person who paid and had dues on file. You actually were an active participant in your club environment, and you used the program for what it was for, and that was to help you to become a better communicator and speaker and leader. And your mentor, and as well as your colleagues, had an opportunity to see the results of that. So thank you so much for sharing your story.
You're welcome.
Of course, they're not done, everyone. That was just the first series of questions for us to get a little bit of background from them. We learned their story. We learned why they joined. We learned when they joined. And notice that they joined over a few years ago. It's been a decade now at least for both of them. Now we're going to find out from them specifically their journey. Now this question is actually going to be in 2 parts, everyone. The journey starting at the club level, and then we'll talk about the journey at the district level. So, Joan, let me come to you with the question, the first part of the question, and that's the journey question at the club level. Give us an idea of the leadership roles you served in at the club level, and give us some insight as to what prompted you or why you decided to fulfill those particular leadership roles at the club level. So tell us about your journey at the club level.
Sure. I told you that I joined Toastmasters in April 2007. Well, in July 2007, I became the Vice President of Education. Yes, that was about 3 months later, right? Because I joined at the end of the Toastmasters year. They tapped me on the shoulder for, of all roles, Vice President of Education. And I don't know if you agree with this, but I think that is the toughest role in the club because it's definitely the most work in my experience. But I was the Vice President of Education for the club for that first full year of Toastmasters. And then the next year, I became president of the club. And while I served as president of the club, I also served as area governor. So I had a dual role that year. I served as president of my club, and I served as area governor for the district, which is now known as area director. So that's what I was. You'll hear me refer to the role as governor because that's what it was at the time. But the current role is area director. That was definitely an experience. It was a challenge leading my club, but I think it fit together nicely and went well together because I was able to do my club success plan with my executive committee, and I was able to help the other clubs in the area do theirs. And as I was going through it as president, I knew that they were going through the same things that I was. And I think that did give me sort of a benchmark just to know where they were coming from and be able to help them. I've also served as Vice President of Membership. I served as VPM for my club when I was the Lieutenant Governor of Marketing, which is now the Club Growth Director. I felt like I needed to be involved more with membership at the club level if I was going to do it at the district level. And so I paired those two roles up, and that seemed to work well because I was trying to get members for my club while I was also trying to get members for the district and encourage others to get members for the district as well. And I have also served as Sergeant at Arms. As a matter of fact, when I was the district governor, I served as Sergeant at Arms for my club. So I think I went from the very top of the organization down to the lowest level of the club. And just hierarchy-wise, it is definitely not the lowest level with respect to importance in the club, because I think as Sergeant at Arms, you are greeting the guests, you are making sure that everything is set up, you're making sure that everything is organized, and it is a very important role. Those are the roles that I have served in the club and in the district kind of at the same time.
Yeah. Joe, I was liking how in your explanation there was a connection between your club role as well as your district role. And I know initially I chuckled because your initial start in club leadership came shortly after you were a member. And I know in our stepping in to district leadership part 1, both Mike and Pat had a similar story as well. After becoming a member, then shortly later, you're asked to be a leader. And as you pointed out, you were asked to be a leader in a very important role for the club, and that's that Vice President of Education role. And I do agree with you. It is one of the toughest roles at the club level. It is also one of the most essential roles at the club level. In my opinion, the VPE, as long as you have a strong VPE, your club can still succeed because most of the Distinguished Club program goals are connected to the role of the VPE. So if that VPE is in tune with what's going on, yeah, your club can definitely succeed. So you had a chance to be in that role and to experience the challenge of it, yet to have the growth. And I believe your club members saw something in you, which is why they asked you to do that very important role of VPE 3 months after you became a member of the club. You also mentioned something else, though. As I was listening to the connection between club role, district role, you got strategic the next 2 years. When you were in, for instance, you mentioned when you were in the role which was the Lieutenant Governor of Marketing and Membership at the time, which is now the Club Growth Director role, you said, hey, listen, if I'm going to be building clubs and recruiting members and retaining members at the district level, I need to be doing the same thing at the club level. So you became strategic in serving in the role of Vice President of Membership. That gave you at the club level a firsthand knowledge and awareness, which then you were able to parlay that information and experience into your district role, and that was very strategic. You also were strategic when you were club president. Being club president and area governor, which is now area director. You did both president and area governor at the same time. And you mentioned something. You said when you, as club president, had to fill out the club success plan, you knew the clubs that you were supporting as area governor, they were going through the same thing too, which now gave you more information and insight and gave you more awareness of how you could better support them in completing their club success plan as you were in your role of area governor. So that was real strategic. I love how there was a connection. You were not just simply taking on roles without being completely aware of what that role and the impact of that role, how it had impact on both the club and the district. And my brain is running fast because I don't want to leave out the sergeant at arms role. As you mentioned, you might have started with VPE, which is the second in command for a club, and then you moved into president and the first in command in the club, yet you had the experience of being the seventh in command in a club, and that's the sergeant at arms. And no, the sergeant at arms role is not a role that most people think about initially in leadership. However, that sergeant at arms role is very essential in the leadership of a club. As we discovered in Creating a Quality Club Part 3, the webinar that I did last month, all 7 of the club officer roles help to influence the quality of a club, and it starts with that sergeant at arms. So not only did you see how Sergeant at Arms connects with the guests and helps to connect with the members, yet the Sergeant at Arms does set the tone for the club, and it ties into the role of the president and the VPE as well as the VPM, and goes beyond the club into the club growth role or the lieutenant governor marketing role, as well as the area governor roles too. So nice way to bridge your journey of both the club journey as well as the district journey. And I'm sure when we get to the district journey, you'll have a little bit more insight to give us as well, specifically about those district roles. Yet thank you for giving us a clear perspective on where you started in the club and those roles that you performed and how those roles actually were connected to what you did at the district level. So thanks, Joan.
You're welcome.
Michelle, give us some insight on your journey at the club level. In which leadership roles did you serve in at the club level?
Well, I have to say that I served in several different clubs. I was a member of several clubs at the same time when I was first starting out, and that's because of my desire to really improve my speaking skills. So I spent a lot of time as a member speaking quite a bit in the first half month or 6 months of the year as I was getting ready. And it was very funny, right, because I was really into Toastmasters very quickly, and so I wanted to, get involved fast and do lots of things. So I did. I was assistant public relations manager, was the VP of membership, VP of education, the president, all those things you have to do as you move around within the club. But the most important role that I held at the club level was truly as a member. And if you think about it, one of the things that's so critically important in the club is to find those people who are really excited, those spark plugs, who really want to come in and ignite the rest of the members positively and get them excited and motivated and really see why it's so fun to be in Toastmasters. And I'll just relate this quick story. One of the times I was speaking at the club, one of the gentlemen who was a member came up and said, there was a retired gentleman, amazing member, and came up and said, hey, the reason I continue to renew is because I just really enjoy seeing you go through the journey. And how amazing is that to think as a member you could have so much impact on other people within your club, within your community, within the surrounding clubs if you visit them, just how important it is that we're making those personal connections while we're both benefiting ourselves from learning and growing and developing new skills, but at the same time helping to inspire, motivate, and just build those connections with other people and how important that is. And so at the club level, in terms of my journey, that was how I kind of progressed through it. But really, I always think about the club as the most critical part where people are. And it's always about meeting the people, connecting with the people, and then just really learning from each other. And so from a leadership journey, did all those things, phenomenally grateful for the opportunity to grow and learn and do those things and really understand how Toastmasters works. But as I reflect from where I sit now, all these years later from when I first started, it really is about that spark plugs moment, about really helping other people, getting them excited, and really being part of that family of other Toastmasters that are really all helping each other and wanting to see each other grow. And it was just phenomenal. So I just look at it from that viewpoint. So Cassandra, back to you.
Thanks, Michelle, and thank you for bringing up a phrase. I remember you used to use that phrase quite often, the spark plugs, finding the spark plugs. And it's so nice to hear the fact that you were a spark plug and you helped to find other spark plugs in your environment. And thank you also for sharing that story of what your member said to you. The member was growing and developing and staying around as a member because he was appreciating seeing you grow. I'm sure he had his own goals and possibly was getting something else from the experience, yet the number one thing that kept him motivated and connected to the club was the fact that he was inspired by your growth. He was witnessing you be a spark plug, and that was why he stayed around. And thank you for sharing that story, because it gave me another perspective that sometimes people join Toastmasters for various reasons, and it is not always for them to get something personally from the experience. It could simply be for them to support others in their experience, and that's what it sounds like he was doing for you. He stayed around and was there to be your cheerleader, so that was good. Michelle, I'm pausing for a moment because I'm thinking I want to stay with you for this next segment of questions. And our next segment of questions will be about the journey into the district leadership level. I know I mentioned briefly that you had done the trio roles and you had an opportunity to actually be on the same team with Joan, and you've been the RA. Now what I'm looking to do is to give you an opportunity to start this conversation about the journey at the district level, and you can give us some insight, if you will, on how that experience was for you with the various roles that you performed. And I mentioned you did area governor, division governor, and of course you can add in any other roles or correct me wherever I might have misspoke. And definitely touch on as well your RA role too, your region advisor role as well. So I'll start with you, Michelle, for the journey with the district level, and then Joan, I'll bring you back in with any additional insight you want to share about your journey at the district level. Go for it, Michelle. Well, take it away.
Great. Thank you so much. Well, I just want to start off by saying I was very fortunate to follow a really phenomenal district governor in Joan. As you know, I followed right after her, and it's just ironic how things work out. I followed her all the way through the journey, and even today, I just continue to learn so much as a person and really grow and develop in all of those skills. So, you know, part of the journey as you go through, as I'm mentoring some other folks in this journey part, is you know, you start as really the division governor, and I mean, there is an area governor. I actually didn't serve in that role except for one day, but as a division governor, you know, it's so critical. You're really learning so much about how to be a team leader of managers. So you're really learning to manage managers, and that's what that role is about. Not only the delegation, but the management of that team and that whole group of people. And then what does that mean? The area governors that serve under there are also really crucial because they really help those clubs. If they're building those strong relationships with those club leaders and those club members, they're critical in helping them develop their personal goals. And as you look at it from the division governor role at that time is what it was called, but really taking a look at how do I help the people that are within my club, within my area, within my division really grow? What are they looking for? How can I make this the best experience for them? And what we end up having is when we take that view of it's actually always about the member, when we're doing our tasks about, well, how many CCs did we get at that time, right? So this is a little dated, but how many competent leaders, how many area, you know, advanced people, how many DTMs? You're really looking at how many people in this category, in the group that I'm supporting, are achieving their dreams, are making their goals happen. It's not just to your point very early in the call, hey, I bought a gym membership and I really never go. Like, that's really going to help you meet your goals. You got to go and participate. And as a division governor, division director, it's really creating those opportunities for your area governors to then help your club leaders and club members really be inspired to transform and make that difference that they wanted. That's why they signed up. Every single one of us started our journey with something that we wanted to achieve. Right? We joined Toastmasters because we wanted to be a better speaker. We wanted to be part of the community. We wanted to be a better leader. We wanted something. And it's our job when we get into that area and division governor role to really focus on that. It's about those members achieving. And then when we start moving up into so they have the different titles now. I get a little stumbled here, but the LGM of marketing and then the program quality director, as you start moving up, you're learning different things. And one of the things that was so inspiring to me when I became the next level, which is the membership role, the lieutenant governor of marketing at the time, that role I was very, again, fortunate because I was following Joan, who was setting records, getting new clubs chartered. It left a few for me to charter when I first started by accident. I want to say on purpose, but, we'll see. I was very fortunate because and I had a great set of people. I mean, Ivory, who's on the phone, Valerie Pousson. I mean, so many great people. Jerry, I wouldn't be lost without Jerry. I mean, so many people were crucial in that journey. You can't do it by yourself. But one of the things that I found to be really, really inspiring at that marketing role is when those folks contact you, those company clubs, those community members, and they want to start a Toastmasters, to see that new club being born at that time when you're helping them with their, going out and doing the test meeting and then getting them to fill out the paperwork. Cassandra, I have walked into rooms with people and they would fill out the paperwork right in front of me. I mean, charter the club right there. They're so inspired to start their Toastmaster journey, and it is just this amazing feeling when you can be there at the birth of a new club and really see those people in the room who they can't wait to get started with Toastmasters because it's the start of their dreams. Like, wow, I can't wait to become a Toastmaster because I want to achieve this. My dream is to do that. I can't wait to get started. And they're so passionate about it. It's so fueling, right? You can't wait to find the next one. It's amazing. And then to go to then the program quality director, where you're really working on a different set of tools, a different set of things that you're trying to achieve. So each of these steps at the district level is about teaching us a different aspect of ourselves and a different skill in our leadership journey. So it's the program quality director for me. We're tracking, again, how many clubs are achieving these metrics, but it's more about the programming. So when we were looking at it for the year that we were working together for John and I on this, it was, the dream is how do we create events and opportunities using the leadership classes and the different courses and the things that we can put together and really create something that's meaningful and exciting for the members, because that when you're doing the club mandatory officer training, that people are going to come out because they want to achieve that objective for their club. They really want to do a great job. And some of them come out because they know they have to get the membership point for their members, their clubs back at home. So what happens now is if we look at it and we say, wow, what if we could really take the time, and that's the key part. Because it's hard with a full-time job and then Toastmasters and everything else, but what if we could take that time to help the existing members who are learning how to be great trainers, coming up in the speaking program, coming up in the leadership program, and give them a platform to help inspire our other members in these, the Toastmasters Leadership Institute. How could we do that and pair those two things together so that when the members come out, they're hearing the best of the district and just getting so excited to see someone up on the stage. I could be that person, right? I could learn those speaking skills. I could stand up and be that leader. I can do it. And I just think that at the program quality role with the conferences we've done, I mean, you were phenomenal at helping us. Cassandra, you were up there as a Toastmaster at one of those events. I mean, really living and breathing that transformational journey within yourself using these educational programs. It's phenomenal. And then finally coming up to the district director level for me, again, because I followed Joan and she was amazing and I had amazing support with Ivory and Valerie and Jerry and just yourself, so many people, and just really learning. When you look at that journey, you're really leading a business. And at that time, 103 and 30 were combined. It was a really big district, and we had a lot of clubs and members. And I just, again, thinking back, what kinds of things could we be doing to give the gift of learning and the gift of the membership to the members? And really taking a look at that. And we had it that year, I think it was, I invited something like 11 or 12 world champions of speaking, one each month almost. Just thinking, wow, what, for people who want to do that track, look at the exposure we could give them by bringing them out to our district. I mean, it was just unbelievable. And I'm hopeful that the people who were there at that part of the journey really got great value. And of course, you don't really always know, but I hope that that was in fact true. And then I was very fortunate, as you mentioned early on, to continue as a region advisor, to be selected through a rigorous interview process. And I was very, very fortunate to go onto that level. And really, you know, when I look at it, you just, again, you're meeting so many people and you are learning so much about yourself. And the key part about these journeys as you go through them is to maximize them for yourself to get the most value. You really need the time. And anybody considering any of these roles or levels, I would just think, hey, anybody could do it if you want to. It's about the want. Do I want to? Then the question is, why do I want to? And then the third part to really think about is, do I have the time to really do two things, give enough and learn enough so that I can be the best that I can be, the people that are here in the role that are with me and working with me deserve. And that's the part for me as I look through my journey as a region advisor. You know, you're on constant phone calls with people, you're traveling around to the districts, and the whole point is we're very lucky in 103 and 30 because we have tremendous leadership talent in our organization, both as the individual members at the clubs who are just doing a great job for our members, and then at the leadership level, I mean, just being on this call, and I know you've interviewed some other great leaders, it's tremendous, the talent within our area. But a lot of the other districts around and the other regions around don't have that same depth of leadership available. And so as an RA, it's part of your job is to really motivate, inspire, and excite some of these folks so that they can grow and thrive within their district. And the region advisor role is really that. You are advising leaders to help them kind of grow in their skill set. So if you think about it, you know, if we're coming up as, you know, district director, and we were very fortunate in our district when I served to have Dietmar Wagenknecht as our region advisor, really, really hands-on, and really would help guide you in a gentle way toward some of the leadership lessons that when you're in the moment, it's hard to kind of step back and look up and work, you know, have that terminology, I'm going to work on my business, not in my business. So when you're in the trio, we're working in the organization because there's so much to do. And when you're the region advisor, your goal is to help pick up all of your district leaders at each role and have them look up and see, let's work on, not only on your district, but on yourself. So the goal, of course, when you're finished with all of these roles, is that you will have gotten this enriching experience for yourself, the growth, right, which is why we're participating on those, a lot of time to do those jobs, but also to see how much we were able to give, because that's really where we're going to make the biggest difference in our learning is when we give. It's not so much, hey, what am I going to learn? It's who can I inspire? Who can I give these gifts and talents to? And then from that giving, you grow. And so that's just my personal view of the different roles at the district level so far that I've had. And it's been a tremendous journey. And Cassandra, thank you for asking.
You are so welcome, Michelle. I really love how you went through every one of the district leadership roles that you held, and you gave a key nugget of information about each one. Yet in your summary statement, I think it ties it all together, and you said two key buzzwords: give and grow. Give and grow. As you mentioned before, everyone joins for a reason. Yet when you step into those district leadership roles, you really are going to be doing two key things. You're going to be giving of yourself, giving of your service, giving of your leadership to help support clubs, and if you're a division director, to support your team of area directors. So you're giving of yourself in order to make certain that the clubs and the areas and the club leaders, everyone is experiencing a good or having a good experience. But really, as I'm bumbling through my words here, and that's because my brain is running fast, my brain is saying, no, when you're in that district leadership role, and you're in that division governor role or that division director role or even that area governor, area director role, you're of service to the club leaders and you're of service to the district to make certain that the quality is there, people are learning, people are growing, yet you also grow in the process. And I know right now we are in the season of having individuals make that decision that they want to step into district leadership, and they want to step into district leadership in whatever the role is for the district level. Yet, as you said, it's going to be a growth opportunity for them, and they should be paying attention to what they're learning and how they're growing as an individual. Yet they also have to be very mindful that whatever that role is they're stepping into now, that they really are going to be giving of themselves and giving their service to that role for the benefit of the members. And Michelle, you brought that phrase up. I know Pat Martin stressed that phrase as well, and it's all about the members. It's something that Pat said on the call. She said even during her term in district leadership, and she reminded us on Stepping into Leadership Part 1, that whatever we do when we step into district leadership, it really is about the members. So thank you for reminding us about the giving and the growing, that we are giving to the members of our district, yet we are also growing as we're helping our members to grow as well. So thank you for your journey into district leadership and how you've been able to give and grow along the way. Joan, I am coming back to you for any additional insight that you may want to share about your district journey. I know you connected your district journey with your club journey, yet if you had anything additional you wanted to add about your district journey in particular, the floor is now yours.
Thank you, Cassandra. I'd like to talk a little bit about the role as Lieutenant Governor of Marketing, which is now the Club Growth Director. That was a fun role. It was a very comfort-stretching role for me because I'll never forget when I was the Vice President of Membership, I had a hard lesson, and this was for the club. We had an open house, and I was so excited because we had 21 guests at our open house. Now, we were not a large club, so 21 guests at an open house, that was a big deal. The lesson learned was those 21 guests walked out the door, and none of them joined our club. And I thought, wow, what happened here? What happened was that nobody asked them to join the club. We had 21 guests. We had all of our officers were there, and nobody asked them to join. That was a hard lesson for me at the club level, and I said, that will never happen again, not on my watch. And I had to parlay that into the Lieutenant Governor of Marketing role and make sure that people knew to ask the members to join the clubs. It doesn't hurt to ask. If they say no, that's fine, but guess what? You'll probably get a lot of yeses too. That was a big lesson for me to learn, and I've learned that lesson, from now on, and since then, I have always asked guests if they want to join the club. When they show up at our door, I make sure that I ask that question. One of the things that was exciting in the Lieutenant Governor of Marketing role for me was, if you know me, you've probably heard my mantra, set your goal, plan your work, and work your plan. I use that in trying to motivate the area governors and the division governors to set their goal of building new clubs. Because in the district role of Lieutenant Governor of Marketing, you have two objectives. The first objective is extension, which is building new clubs and adding new members, of course, and then retention, which is retaining the clubs that you have and retaining the members that you have. The set your goal, plan your work, work your plan was focused on club extension. And we set a goal that year of building 25 new clubs. That's a lot of clubs in the district. And I'm happy to say that we achieved that goal. We actually exceeded it. We built 26 new clubs. And how were we able to do that? Well, it wasn't me, because let me tell you, you cannot do that role by yourself. You have to have a team, and you have to rely on the people to be motivated and excited and achieve their goals, which they did. The area governors got involved, the division governors got involved, and I just have to say that at the time, Michelle was one of the division governors, and she was a big part of building those new clubs, as well as the other division governors too. They met their goals, and we built a lot of strong new clubs for the district. That's pretty exciting. And I remember I was helping one of the members. She wanted to build a new club at her job, and she worked for Blue Cross Blue Shield. I don't know if you remember Moni Petside, but she worked for Blue Cross Blue Shield, and Moni says, "Joan, can you help me?" I said, "Sure, Moni, we can come and we can do a sample meeting, and it'll be so fun, and it'll be exciting." She says, "Yes, I think we're going to charter a club. I think we really, really are, Joan." I said, "Sure, I'll come and help you." I went, and we did the sample meeting. It was a great, great sample meeting, and the people started signing up right away. Of course, you know you need 20 new members to charter a club, and the people were signing up, and they kept signing up, and they kept signing up. By the time we walked out of there, there were 40 new members. And I said, "Wow, Moni, this is so exciting." Well, guess what? It didn't stop there, because they kept signing up. And the next, I think it was a couple days later, Moni called me. She said, "Joan, you're not going to believe this." And I said, "What, Moni? What is it?" She said, "We have twins." And I said, "What do you mean we have twins?" And she said, "We're going to build 2 new clubs, because now we have 80 members that have signed up." So they split the clubs, the Blue Cross Blue Shield Club number 1, 40 members, and Blue Cross Blue Shield Club number 2, 40 members. And that was just so, so exciting. It was really a highlight. And I also remember another club that I helped to charter. This was a club, it was the HHS Club, and it's a government agency. So I helped, and it was the Administration for Children and Family Services. But they called it the HHS Toastmasters Club. It's quite interesting, because the lady there, she worked in the regional office, and she decided that they needed a Toastmasters Club. And I went and I helped her set up the club, and I developed a relationship with her. And this is the beauty of Toastmasters, because you get to network and you get to build relationships and help other people. Just like Michelle said, it's all about the member. It's all about helping other people. So one of the things that occurred was that the lady that I was helping build the club with, she said, she just happened to mention to me, "Well, you know, I've got an opening for a position here in our office, and I'm looking to fill that position. It's a contract position. I said, really? Well, what are the requirements? And when she told me the requirements, I said, I think I know somebody who can fill that position for you. So we had a Toastmaster, and she had been downsized, and I told her about the position. And lo and behold, she got the position. She works for them today, and she converted from a contractor to a full-time employee. She's been promoted in that position, and guess what? She is a member. She was already a Toastmasters member, but she's a member of the HHS Club now. That was pretty exciting.
Cool.
And
that is.
I was so happy that happened. And another thing that sticks with me with the Lieutenant Governor of Marketing role was the Club Ambassador Program. And I was very fortunate to be able to help start that program in District 30, and I think it's still around today. And it was just exciting to give the members an opportunity to be able to go outside their club, go outside the four walls of their club, visit other clubs. You can talk about visiting other clubs all the time, but people just may not do it. But when you set up a structure and a program for them to do it, well, you know how Toastmasters are. They'll follow it, right? So we had lots of people be groundbreakers and start visiting other clubs. And I think we had a program where they could become Club Ambassador of the Year. If they got so many points, it was a point system, and if they got so many points and visited the most number of clubs, then they were the Club Ambassador of the Year. That was pretty exciting. And I have to give Michelle credit for my Lieutenant Governor of Education and Training role, which is the Program Quality Director, because she helped me in that role. She was serving as the Lieutenant Governor of Marketing when I was serving as the Lieutenant Governor of Education and Training to put on the conferences. So Michelle needed a little help with the growing the club part, which I could help her with. I needed a little help with the conferences, which she helped me with, and it was a win-win. And in the role of district governor, which is now district director, one of the things that comes to mind that I instituted in that role was judges training. Now, was it brand new? No. People had done judges training before, but it had been a while. It had been a few years. And I was pretty proud that we instituted judges training because in the year that we did, I served as district governor 2012-2013. Do you know what happened in 2013? Prez won our district level, and then he went on to win the world champion of public speaking. Now, I'm not saying that he wouldn't have won the contest anyway, but I think that the judges training equipped the judges to know the requirements and to do a better job of bringing a champion forth that could win the world championship of public speaking. And that's about it, Cassandra.
Well, Joan, I am so glad that I came back to you because you gave us a wealth of additional information with your journey with the district leadership roles. And you know what? I appreciate the story that you shared about being able to close the sale when you were giving the example of having those 21 members or those 21 guests show up at your club meeting and having 21 guests for a club that's small and none of those 21 guests joined the club because no one asked them to join. I could hear our current club growth director, Greg Thompson, who at the D103 Winter TL Live was saying, close the sale, close the sale. And I think your example is a good reminder for us at the club level that we should always be closing the sale. It is a simple invitation to join the club. And as you pointed out, some people will tell you no, and that's okay. Yet more people will tell you yes than they will tell you no, yet you don't want to lose the opportunity of closing the sale. And as you pointed out, that club level experience gave you fuel for your district level experience. You said we will never lose out on an opportunity again to get new members, and you made certain of that at both the club level and the district level. Speaking of the district level, thank you also for telling the story about Blue Cross Blue Shield. I remember the individuals that you mentioned, and it reminds me why we have two Blue Cross Blue Shield clubs, and technically there are 3 clubs over there, but I know we have the 2, the Blue Cross Blue Shield 1 and Blue Cross Blue Shield 2. Then we have the Toastmaster, or I think they are called the Association of Blue Cross.
Right,
yeah.
right.
Yeah,
it came later.
The key is, right, that's true, a few years later. Yeah, here's the key. You mentioned something that was real key with the member who recognized, listen, we have now 80 people. We are going to start 2 clubs. And in starting those 2 clubs, those clubs have been strong over the years. It's been wonderful to watch their growth with their club leaders, with their club members, and just how active the clubs have grown over time. So, and it started with them being able to have that interest and the support. And I think that's something that's key for those of us who belong to corporate clubs. When we can have the support of the corporation, our clubs can definitely thrive and grow and be successful for our members. And then one final point that I want to touch on that you shared, and this ties back into what Michelle was mentioning, and I want to use the phrase that Charles Brooks used to use, and that's about legacy. You mentioned being able to do the club ambassador program, and even Michelle talked about doing programming that would allow the members to experience the growth. So when she brought in the world champions of public speaking, and even when you did the judges training, you ladies actually infused in District 30 legacy programming that I know personally as the first district director for District 103, many of those ideas came along with me, and we are still expanding on making certain we can keep that legacy involved, because you're right, it's about the members, it's about the growth of for our members, and it's what can we give at the district level to help our members to grow and develop, not just within Toastmasters, yet beyond Toastmasters. So I'm proud that we are able to still use the Club Ambassador program, and we have a couple of tweaks added to it, yet it's still there. The judges training, that is something we're still working on. This webinar series is something different, tying back to what Michelle was saying about giving members an opportunity to grow and learn. And then, of course, we have right now, the preferred trainers that will do their special programming this Saturday as a way to build and extend the learning. And I'm sure we're going to continue to do other things. We may even borrow, Michelle, your idea of having the World Championship of Public Speakers. I know our district director has charged me with coming up with a program for accredited speakers, the Speakers Bureau. And as I'm shouting out all of these things, it's like, we got a lot of work to do. And I think, Michelle, as you pointed out, it's about the members, and it's also about how much time do we have, how much can we actually give, and if we're constantly thinking about the fact that this is a growth organization and we want to provide programming that will help our members to grow and to develop as communicators, speakers, and leaders in Toastmasters and outside of Toastmasters, as a district, we'll find a way. And of course, with a team such as you and Mike and Pat and Joan, Michelle, you guys have assisted us with District 103 being a brand new district, but you ladies were there in the forefront along with Pat and Mike years ago, setting and paving the way for the legacy. So I want to thank you both for that. Legacy. District leadership leads to legacy. And as my brain is running fast, I'm going to slow it down for a moment because I want to do this. I know there are, I'm sure, some questions that some of our callers or listeners may have. So what I want to do, and this is jumping ahead a little bit, I want to make certain, as they've been listening, any of the key questions that's been coming to mind for them, they have a chance to at least ask you those questions now. And then we will close out with, I'll have a final question for both of you ladies to just simply share with us any advice that you may have about being in district leadership. Yeah, as I said, I don't want to lose the time, and I want to open the call for those that are listening or those that are watching to have an opportunity to ask questions. So everyone, here is how we will do it. Remember that the call is being recorded, and what I am going to do is to open the line or to at least go into the Q&A segment. You will hear an announcement saying that the Q&A has started. If you are listening by phone, you can press *6 to put yourself in the queue. That way I'll know you have a question, and you will have your line open. When the line is open, please let us know who you are, what club you belong to, and then let us know your question. If your question is going to Joan, let her know that. If it's going to Michelle, let her know that. Or if it's open for either one of them, be clear for that so that way they will know. If you are watching by webinar, you will see the Q&A button somewhere down below with all the little icons. You can click that, and it will also put you in the queue as well. That gives me an awareness that you have a question. So whether you're listening by phone, *6, or if you're watching by webinar, you'll press the Q&A button. Yet that will give me a chance to know that you are all positioned. Speaking of position, let me position myself for the Q&A segment. Just give me one moment here. That's, of course, always something different, right?
You're doing a great job, Cassandra.
Thank you so much for that. There we go. It's always wonderful to make the screen larger where you can see things. Okay, start Q&A. All right, everyone, Q&A session has started. So that means *6 will put you in the queue if you are by phone. By webinar, hit the Q&A icon for you to go there. And I know this is through technology, so I will, use some filler conversation to start allowing a little bit of time to pass. I do see one caller is in the queue now. I'll give a few more seconds for the next caller to get in the queue as well. And caller, once I open your line, as I said, be certain to let us know who you are, what club you belong to, and for whom your question is for. So caller number 1, I am now unmuting your line.
Hi, my name is Patrice. Hi. My name is Patrice Sorrell. I am a member of Broadview 3303. My question is for either Joan or Michelle, and I would like to know if they could either one of them can tell me the specific duties of the area director and how they assist the club meeting their club success plan.
Thanks, Patrice, for asking that question. Joan or Michelle, whoever would like to answer first, the floor is yours. Oh, Patrice, bear with me. I think I need to go back in and unmute their line. Hold on.
Sure, no problem.
The technology, I tell you. Okay, everyone, I think here's what's going to be the deal. I think this is what we figured out from the first time. I have to unmute everyone. So I ask for your own phones. If you put your phones on mute to block the background noise, that way I'll be able to have Michelle and Joan unmuted. So I'm going to unmute everyone now. Okay, Michelle and Joan, I see that your lines are open, which is good. Everyone else, if you can just mute your own lines with the background noise, that way Patrice's question can be answered by Michelle and by Joan. And I do hear a little bit of background noise right now. So whoever can whoever that is, just remember, mute your own phone. All right, Patrice, you still there?
Yes.
Okay. Joan, why don't I defer this call to you first, or the answer to you first, and then Michelle,
Sure.
you can answer after Joan.
Sure. Hi, Patrice. Thanks for the question. I really appreciate it. The area director role is definitely a very, very important role. I would even say that it's a VIP role because the area director is crucial in the success of the district, and it is a stretching role. It allows you to stretch your comfort zone and to grow into leadership. I mean, you may have served as an officer in your club, but when you step into the area director role, it opens so many more opportunities for you to grow in leadership. As far as the specific duties of the role, you will be acting as a leader for different clubs in your area. And for the most part, there's a minimum of 4 clubs that you will serve as area director. In those 4 clubs, you will have the most contact with the presidents and the vice presidents of education of those clubs. You will make sure that they are on track, that they set goals for their clubs, that they want their members to grow, and that they're helping their members grow. You will also be responsible for an area contest, area speech contest, where the participants from each of those clubs will come and compete. So you will set up the club contest, and you will also be responsible for visiting those clubs. Like I said, making sure that they're on track, that they have completed their club success plans, and that they are meeting the goals that they have set out for their own individual clubs. The best part of being an area director is you get to know people. You get to build relationships with those officers at the club and also with the members of the club. When you visit their club, please make sure that you take the opportunity to have a speaking role at that club. That way you can make all your announcements for your particular area, but you can also connect with those members. When you give a speech at a club, it is an opportunity to connect with the people in the audience. So you're connecting with the members, you're connecting with the officers, and that's going to help you get to know those folks and help you be better able to lead them. So those are just a few of the responsibilities of an area director. You're also part of district leadership, and you're part of the district executive committee, which there are periodic meetings that you will come to and that you will learn about district leadership there and how better you can serve your clubs. And what's great about that is you get to connect and network with other area directors, and they may have ideas. You know, it's the yes and philosophy of improv. If they have an idea, you say yes and let's do this. And if you have an idea, they say yes and we can do this. So you're building, you're collaborating, and you're building on those ideas. That's the best role. I think, in my personal opinion, I think the area director role is the best role in the district.
Great. Thanks so
Joan.
much.
Yeah, so Patrice, don't go anywhere because remember, Michelle has a response for you as well. Take it away, Michelle.
Yes. Thank you so much. I just, Joan is really the expert in this area. Cassandra, you are as well. And I think for me, the area governor, depending on how much time you have, to the extent that you can spend more time visiting clubs and really meeting the members, that will help you the most, because as the area governor, while you're definitely working with the club officers to help grow them and give them the information that they need to provide learning opportunities for their members, it's also a great opportunity for you to do a couple things. As you get to know some of the members, you will discover some of those spark plugs that are in these clubs. And as the area governor, you can leverage those spark plugs for your area contests. Maybe if you do any special events, those spark plugs will be the first ones to step up and sign up to help work with you on those things. And they'll make your job as the area governor so easy because they're so inspired to the extent that you can help mold them to do great things. Your time as an area governor will be rewarding and exciting. So not only by helping the club members, officers, but also reaching down into the members, not in place of the club officers, but in supplement of them. Because people who are at the club level who really want to grow and kind of get really involved, they're looking for that person who can kind of help them get outside of their club area, and the area governor can help them do that. So to the extent that you can send, you know, when someone wins an award, right, earns that award, they don't win it, they earn it, you could send personal emails or personal handwritten notes, especially if it's like the DTM or one of the bigger level achievements that they've made. It's just really, in my view, really helping those members get that supplemental caring in addition to the club officers. So that's kind of the key part, but really your journey is to help all of those officers make sure they're achieving those objectives that are laid out for them, because if the clubs are giving the numbers, the metrics that are showing how many people have completed the learning path, that means that those members who are completing the path, in theory, are achieving their personal goals and objectives on why they joined Toastmasters. So there's a couple different answers there. One is looking for the spark plugs and giving them additional opportunities to grow faster within Toastmasters by helping them help you deliver more value back into the club. So it's kind of a circular opportunity. And then the other part is, you know, sending those personal notes and personal emails out to the people who've achieved awards to the extent that you have time to do so. Just really creates that additional touch and uplift for those members and gets them even fuel to keep doing more. Right? It just recognizes them for that time and commitment that they've put forward to achieve. And then finally, it's the personal satisfaction that you get knowing that you were able to help and excite and inspire so many people to achieve their objectives, and helping those club members watch those numbers go higher and higher as we get towards the end of the year. More people will join. Clubs that are happy and excited in general usually have higher membership numbers because they are so inspiring. When people come in to see what the club's about, they want to join. They want to be part of that community. And the area governor really helps inspire all the clubs around that you're supporting achieve those feelings. So it's an important task, and I think to Joan's point, it's one of the most important ones within the district. Cassandra, back to you.
Thank you. Thanks, Michelle. Patrice, for additional information to supplement what both Joan and Michelle gave you, don't be shy about visiting www.toastmasters.org. You can use the search feature, or you can go to the resource library where you can find the District Leadership Handbook. The District Leadership Handbook is basically going to provide you the foundational information that both ladies touched on, yet recognize that what they gave you is the additional heart to each of those roles. So thank you so much for having an interest in that area director role. And if you have any additional questions, feel free to reach out to us as well. And thanks again for your question.
Thank you, Cassandra.
You're welcome. And speaking of questions, everyone, the line is still open. If you have any additional questions, go ahead and let me know. You can't do the *6 because everybody's line is open at this point. Just recognize that if I hear you, I'll know to pause to give you the floor. So let me pause now. Any additional questions? Great. Sounds as if everyone has received a lot of additional insight. So with our final moments left together, I would like to, let's see here. I'm bouncing all over the place. I'm doing 3 things at once. However, here's the final question, Joan and Michelle, that I'm going to close out with for tonight. And that is your opinion. If you had to give someone advice on considering stepping into district leadership, whether it's for the 2020 2021 club year, which means July 1st of 2020, or even for some time in the future, if you were to give them advice about stepping into district leadership, what words of wisdom would you share with them? And Joan, I'll start with you first. What would you give them as advice about stepping into district leadership?
In the words of Nike, just do it. Cassandra, you had talked before about in Toastmasters, we learn by doing. And I remember when I was asking a couple of my club members to be area directors at the time, and they said, oh, but we don't know how to do this role. I said, what role in Toastmasters did you know how to do before you started doing it? Probably none. And they agreed. And I said, just dip your toe in, just do it, in the words of Nike. And they were so glad that they did. And I would just say, I also have a mantra, get ready and be ready. If you're already ready, you're probably not going to step into this role, or you've probably already been in this role. But get ready by accepting the challenge, doing the role, and learning as you go along. Because you, like you said, Cassandra, you will learn by doing. And you'll have a lot of support. I remember when I became an area governor, area director now, I remember what Ivory said. He was in the room. He was actually the sergeant at arms at the time. He was in the room, and he said, I want you to just look to your left and look to your right. And he said, these are the people that are going to support you. And guess what? They were, because everybody was in it together. And everybody supported everybody else. That's one of the most beautiful things in Toastmasters. When you're in district leadership, people have your back, and you have theirs. And that's really part of the journey. You talked about the journey, Cassandra. That's really part of the journey, is going through it together and growing together. In the words of Nike, just do it.
I think that is great advice, Joan. You're right. Just do it. You won't know everything, yet if you're open to learning what you need to know as you're in that role, you will have that opportunity to enjoy it and to grow while you're doing it. How about you, Michelle? What would be your advice?
Joan, of course, took my phrase. I just, wouldn't expect to say anything except what Joan said. The key part to remember is while you're just doing it, and you should absolutely, it is an amazing experience, the growth that you're going to get, the people you're going to meet, the opportunities you're going to create with your teams, for yourself. But the most important part is what you can't see, right? This is the part where we want to look forward into the future. What we can tell you, having completed a lot of those pieces of the journey, is that at the other side, when you're finished, maybe 2 years, 3 years after you're finished with the actual work in the district, the rewards, the fruits of your hard work, if you apply yourself and really meet the people, work with the people, get those relationships, the growth for you personally is infinite. It's so amazing to look back and think, wow, I can't believe I did that. But more importantly, it's wow. Not only can I not believe I did that, but look at what has happened to me, transformation, the growth, and how much more, because of that maturity that I gained in those roles, I'm able to contribute back to society. It is amazing. So I would sign up right away. I wouldn't even wait. If you were on the phone and you were thinking, wow, I didn't know if I was going to be an area governor, I was concerned about could I do it, you can do it. You 100% can do it. And not just because maybe you want to learn something, you're not certain about it. The people within the district will help you. They're going to lift you up. They're going to help you build those skills. They're going to help you build that confidence. And if something happens and you fall down or you trip or you feel insecure and unconfident, they're going to be there right there to help you, lift you up, give you the support that you need to dust yourself off and learn from that experience so that the next time someone next to you needs help, you can lift them up and help them grow and be more successful because of what someone else did for you. So step into that leadership. If you're not in the district right now, volunteer for something. Get involved. Get to know those people who are active already. They're going to inspire you. They're going to help you grow. It is truly phenomenal what you can do as a group of people just as volunteers that no one else can do because of the unique singularity that each person brings. So get out there, get to those deck meetings, call up Cassandra, call up Ivory, call up all the people on the TRIO leadership team, whatever you want to try, and get involved. You will be rewarded in ways that you can't even see. And again, because those rewards come many years later. But what you sow now, you will reap greatly later. So Cassandra, back to you.
Well, Michelle, I think those are fantastic words of wisdom, especially letting us know that stepping into district leadership now, it's a seed that's being sown and the rewards will be reaped later. The growth will, of course, occur, yet you won't even see the full results of everything until later on down the line. And everyone on the call, on the session tonight, I tell you, if you heed the advice of both Joan and Michelle, I think you will find that you will truly have a rewarding experience. You know how it is to be involved at the club level. Now is the time to consider stepping into district leadership. As we are coming to the close of our call, I want to thank everyone for the thoughts that you had, the time you took to be on this session, and for the questions that came in. This is an opportunity for you to be reminded now that District 103 has a couple of events coming up. We have the month of March being the Vision Speech Contest time. We also have this Saturday coming up as an opportunity to see what Michelle was alluding to, or what Michelle actually spoke on, and that is our members taking their communication skills to the next level. We're doing a special program for our D103 preferred trainers where they are going to give us some real-world training on topics such as PowerPoint and emotional intelligence and communication styles that we can use within Toastmasters, yet beyond Toastmasters as well. So if you haven't had an opportunity to register, definitely check your email or reach out to me and be sure that you can attend that session on Saturday. March 21st is an extension of tonight's session. Now, March 21st is the next District Executive Council meeting. Remember, Michelle just said, attend some of the meetings, meet the district trio. This is an opportunity if you are interested in becoming an area director or being on the public relations committee or volunteering in any way, shape, or form for next year. This will be a great opportunity for you to come to what we're calling the DEC Open House. It will be your chance to meet the current district leaders. It will give you an idea of what future leadership roles are like, and it also gives you a chance to be firsthand with people where you can ask those questions. So when Joan and Michelle was advising that you reach out to individuals, I would say definitely mark your calendar for March 21st. That will be a 10 a.m. session downtown at AT&T, which Saturday is downtown at AT&T as well. And again, your emails will give you all the details. And speaking of all the details, man, I'm thinking about the last event we have listed here, and that is our annual conference. There are lots of details associated with our annual conference, yet know that April 24th and 25th gives you an opportunity to enjoy the annual conference of District 103. We are bringing in Patricia Fripp, who is a presentation expert, and she is going to be the keynote speaker for the weekend, yet you're going to learn from District 103 speakers and leaders. You'll have an opportunity to attend a business meeting to vote in the next district leaders. And I would also encourage you to consider participating in the virtual banner parade, wearing your annual conference T-shirt, and I'm trying to think of all the things that are in that email about the annual conference. So again, check your email for the District 103 Toastmasters messages that go out once a week, because all the details for most of these events that are listed here have very specific registration links and specific details for you to share with your members and with your fellow club leaders. As I look at the final reminder for tonight, I have one more webinar that will be next week that I'm facilitating for you. This will be the webinar on Make Your Website Work for Your Clubs. That basically means whether you're using a social media page or an actual website, I'll provide you with some specific tips that can help to make certain that your social media and or website is speaking to your prospective members as well as your current members. I know that both Michelle and Joan in particular, talked about recruiting and retaining, and both of them mentioned that Lieutenant Governor Marketing and Membership role, or the Club Growth Director role, as well as the Vice President Membership role. Yet I would say the Vice President of Public Relations is also helping to recruit and retain as well. So whether you're a VPM, a VPPR, or any club officer or simply a club member, you may find this website, or this webinar rather, to be beneficial. And I said the word website simply because I am going to refer to the free Toast Host website tool that you can use, and I'll give you some tips on using that resource as well. Yet that session is next week. The webinar link is D103 website tips.eventbrite.com. If you haven't already registered, again, when that D103 Toastmasters message goes out, click the link, register for the session, and that will be the final webinar session for March. I'll resume webinars in May because we got the annual conference. Hey, I got work to do, so I need a little bit of a break. There's a lot to do, and as Michelle also talked about, when we're giving, we have to make certain we have the time. So I do want to make certain that I have the time to do research for future sessions. I've already mentioned that our district director has charged me with coming up with new topics. So be on the lookout. Sometime in April, you'll learn what the topics are for May and what the topics are for June, and you will have an opportunity to register for those sessions. Yeah, it has been a pleasure for me, Cassandra Diva of Dialogue Lead, to use Divine Inspiration Vocally Applied tonight to facilitate this session. This is part two of Stepping into District Leadership, where we featured our past district governors of both Michelle Cable and Joan Moore, and they gave us a lot of key information. I want to thank them for being our panelists for tonight and all of the insight and wisdom they shared. So, Joan, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Michelle, thank you as well.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity. Thanks, everyone.
Good. I'm hugging both of them from a distance. I'm high-fiving. Actually, I'm fist-bumping, elbow-bumping everyone else that's on the call tonight. I want to thank you all. For any additional questions that you may have, you may reach out to me via email. And until next time, we say, just do it and be safe. Have a good evening, everyone. Take care.
Bye.
Good night. Bye.
Bye-bye.